I bought a black G6 from T-Mobile that ran me $700+ after shipping and sales tax. It delivered to me about 10 days ago. 3 days later, LG sent me their Platinum variant in exchange for an unbiased review. Here is that review. It's a good phone. Thanks, LG.
I'm fully y'all now. Those was jokes. Woo!
If you missed my unboxing, first impressions, and size comparison video, I'll put a card up. Otherwise, long story short, the G6 is a really well-built phone, especially compared to its predecessor last year, the G5. The G6 is housed with a glass front and back suitable for wireless charging with metal surrounding the sides. The build quality is definitely premium, and the ergonomics are fantastic for such a big phone. The phone is IP68 dust and water resistant, so you shouldn't worry about it getting a little wet. Or a lot wet. In my unboxing video, I did mention that the volume buttons on the side could have been more tactile. They feel a little mushy compared to other flagship phones, but then again, it's not something you'll really notice. I do because I keep a handful of phones at bay. The glass on the back is definitely a fingerprint magnet, more so with the black than the platinum, so if that's a concern, I'd stick with the platinum. The bezels on the front are super thin compared to other phones rocking bigger displays. And even though this phone comes in at 5.7 inches, it doesn't feel like one. Physically, it fits well in the hand. As an example, my Galaxy S7 is one of my favorite phones for in-hand feel, but the G6's width is surprisingly similar even though it has a much larger display. The same can be said with a much smaller phone and display like the iPhone 7. I've said in a past video, but to reiterate, the G6 offers a big display with a small physical footprint. This LG flagship comes with a Snapdragon 821 chipset and 4 gigs of RAM. And while the new Snapdragon 835 might be on the horizon, this 821 does a great job of handling everyday tasks. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, texting, surfing the web, taking a picture, etc, etc. In my week and a half of testing, I've had a smooth and lag-free experience. No qualms about its performance here. The G6 packs a 3300 mAh battery. In my testing with the display on brightness at auto, I can go through a full day of moderate to moderate heavy use, and I'm able to get around 4 hours of screen on time. Not the best, and certainly not the worst, it fits right in the middle of the pack. This is about a 50-50 mix of LTE and Wi-Fi. Your mileage may vary. When charging the phone while completely dead using the stock charger and cable, the G6 hits 29% at the 30-minute mark, 68 to 70% in an hour, and 94% at an hour and a half. Both my G6s reached 100% at the 1 hour and 50-minute mark. What separates this phone from others lies in its dual cameras, specifically its wide-angle lens that takes some impressive shots. I have to admit, most times taking pictures I found myself switching over to the wide camera lens instead, just because it gives that wow effect. When it comes to comparing the camera with other high-end phones, it's right up there in terms of outdoor shooting. It produces more vibrant colors compared to the iPhone 7 Plus, and while the 7 Plus also offers a second lens, its purpose is to zoom, not to shoot wide like the G6. For me, I'd rather have a wide-angle lens, but that call is ultimately up to you. Its color palette leans more on the cooler side when compared to the Pixel XL in this shot, and it definitely produces a sharper picture when compared to the OnePlus 3T in this shot. And here's a wide-angle shot, just because. When up against the S7, both produce very similar shots. In this split shot, I can barely tell the two apart. The only difference is the G6 can go wide. I have a whole video dedicated to its performance indoors and in low light, so feel free to watch that for a more in-depth review. I'll put a card up. These outdoor shots only scratch the surface. I'll be doing a more in-depth analysis video in the near future for outdoor and night shooting. Stay tuned. In the meantime, here are some other shots taken with the G6 using both the standard and wide-angle lens. I wanted to do a little comparison when it comes to video stabilization, and while the G6 seems to stabilize video well, the video quality itself is really suspect. It's way too sharpened, which really makes it hard for me to focus on stabilization in the first place. It might be because I left steady recording enabled in the settings, but I'll have to do a little more testing. I'll do a little more digging to find out. When up against the Pixel XL, it's the same story. Stabilization looks good, but video quality comes first here. In both cases, I prefer the 7 Plus and Pixel XL. I'll need more time testing, so sit tight for a video on this as well. Overall, from the 10 days I've owned both G6s, I've had a mostly positive experience. But is this phone for you? The G6 offers great build quality, it's dust and water resistant, it's capable of wireless charging, it has expandable storage, a big display but easy to handle, decent speakers despite being bottom facing, solid, smooth, lag-free performance, a battery that'll get you through the day but I've had better, a camera that rivals other top phones but has an added bonus of a wide lens for that extra touch, the front camera could use some work in low light situations, video I'm not so sure about, I don't want to completely rule it out until I do a bit more testing, so if that's your #1 priority, sit tight until I can give you final thoughts, but at the end of the day, a solid phone with a $650 price tag. Now if you're a spec junkie, it hits just about everything you're looking for in a phone, but I know some of you want that Snapdragon 835 instead. If not, the 821 is still a great performer, and again, no other phone offers that wide angle lens, so keep your priorities in mind and let me know if the G6 is right for you. Or don't let me know. Who am I? Your mother?
Who is your daddy and what does he do?